Hello everybody, this is Stephanie, the hands, hair, and heart of Cornerstone Create. Welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a card that I made using the We Are Memory Keepers Precision Press Advanced. I'm also going to be using the Gifted Sentiment stamp set that is in my shop right now. For my card today, I'm going to be building a wreath. While I don't have the actual stencil that seems to be really hot right now, I do have this We Are Memory Keepers Precision Press, which will give me the same effect. The only difference is that with the stencil that people are using, it has 8 points, so there are 8 points of rotation for the wreath. This is only going to give me 4, but honestly, it's not how many times you can rotate the acrylic block, it's what you do with it. We all know that. I think in the future I would probably get that stencil, but I'm just getting like all the feels from this We Are Memory Keepers press right now. Like my last video, I was able to do a turnabout stamp, so that's one type of stamp that I don't have to go buy special, and now I'm also getting the I'm using the rotation feature to create my own wreath. So that's 2 different products that I'm getting out of this one stamp, and I'm loving it. Combine that with the same placement that you can get from the Tim Holtz stamping platform, and honestly that's 3 different products that you're getting for the price of one. And I mean, hey, how can you argue with that? I'm inking up my stamp with Teal Zeal from Memento. The stamp comes from my Gifted Sentiment stamp set, which features 6 stamps, 1 double circle frame, and 5 sentiments, all with different fonts. Now you see me ink this stamp up 3 times now, and I'm going to speed this up in a little bit. I just wanted you to get a good run for how this feels, how this works. I'm inking up my stamp, I'm rotating, I'm stamping. Ink it up, rotate, stamp. Now the first time I did this, I actually rotated it 90 degrees, then 180 degrees, then I went back 90 degrees. But you know, you don't have to do it that way. I didn't do that on purpose. It was an accident. And when I realized what I'd done, I just went back 1/4 of a circle to redo that. I'm also inking up my stamp twice when I put it down. You don't have to do this. I just did it because I always do it for whatever reason. I just can't let one time be enough. The floral stamps that you see me using come from a Backyard Table layering rose stamp set. I don't know that Michael's has this online or even in their store anymore, because I haven't seen them have any of the Backyard Table stamp sets, and I'm a little, I don't know, concerned about the stamp sets that Michael sells. Like, I guess they're only going to have different sets for different seasons, which is fine. I mean, I guess that's what everybody does, but everybody else has them available even when they're not like the hot thing to buy right now. Michael's is just gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. So here's the sped up part that I promised you. You've already seen me go around once, and I'm starting again with this new flourish. Well, with this same flourish, but I'm starting again. The color of ink that I'm using is Cottage Ivy by Memento Ink. I'm inking, stamping, and rotating, and that's just what I'm going to be doing. So I think a little bit earlier in the video you saw me rubbing my finger on the stamp. I've used this stamp set before, but I haven't used all of these images that you see me using. So what I'm doing is I'm rubbing a little bit of Versamark on these stamps just to kind of give them a little bit of a pre-treat before I actually stamp them down. The pre-treat kind of gives you a more solid image once you stamp them down so that the ink doesn't bead up on the stamp. Eventually, once you start using your stamps a little bit more, that's not going to happen as often, but this is a brand new stamp, and sometimes with some Michael's set, I know with their older ones, this was really bad, but they've gotten better with these newer sets that they've been making, but they just don't stamp. They have had a history of not stamping the best, so I just go ahead and pre-treat these anyway. I'm using Rosebud Memento ink to stamp up this flower image. I was going to stick with blues and greens, but it looked really monotonous and I wanted something to break up the color a little bit. So I went with the rosebud, and even a little bit later, because I was inspired by the rosebud, I'm going to stamp a little bit of Wild Honey Distress ink. So stick around long enough to see that. So now we've gotten to the part of the video where I'm going to give you a little bit of a life update. Like, let me tell you, God has been good to me. And I mean that in the greatest way. I'm just looking at my life and reflecting, and I'm not trying to toot my horn or anything, but the Lord has really been looking out for me. Like, I started off as a kid in foster care to going to college, which wasn't supposed to happen if you let statistics tell you what to do. And then I went from there to being happily married with children. Was we have a house that we're in, and we are in the process of closing on a second house. Like, God has been good. He has rained down blessings upon me like melodies from heaven. My hope now is that just like the Lord has poured into me, that I can pour into other people. That's why I like sharing these videos with y'all. Like, I feel like even though like my life might be all boring, dull, and humdrum, I hope that when people watch my videos, that they get some kind of happiness, that they're inspired to do something that comes from their heart and to share and express parts of themselves with other people, just like I'm doing in my videos with y'all. So, I look for ways to kind of help people and to, like, just spread joy and positivity so that greater things can come to other people in their lives. Oh, and as for other things that are going on in my life right now, so like, I don't know if anybody's ever had the power cut off just straight up on their one block. My block is like crazy. So when we bought the house, I didn't do a whole lot of looking on to see, whether this was a good school district or anything like this, or whether there was a bunch of crime or stuff like that. Like, those aren't really the things that concern me a whole lot. So I mean, maybe they should. Maybe I should rethink that. But anyway, I looked it up after we had moved in here, and apparently, like, there's this one spot, just one spot, that's like in the red for crime. So I have a friend that does real estate, and she told me that, that doesn't necessarily mean crime. That just means that there are a lot of people, for whatever reason, like, the police get called there a lot. So I was like, okay, well, I did notice, and she said it also counts for emergency services. So on that corner, there is an older woman that lives there, and I think she needs an ambulance to get her back and forth to her appointments. I've known my mom and a couple of other people that I know work in the healthcare industry, and that's not unheard of. So I figured that's what that was. Nope, I was wrong. My corner is just really bad as a blind spot for motorists. I've been on this, and I feel like I can't really give a good account for that being a blind spot because I live there and I know what to look out for. So I've kind of been influenced and biased, and I can't see it how everybody else does. But yeah, so there was a bad accident, and one car got T-boned by the other car, and the car that got T-boned went into a power pole, and it knocked out the electricity on my block. So the power people were out there for hours. They had to replace the whole pole. But now there is a piece of the pole that's just hanging suspended in the air by wires, and I keep thinking they're gonna come back and like get that piece of the pole. I'm not sure why they left it, but it's scary to look at. And I caution people, not out there physically cautioning people, but I would like for people to not be having to walk underneath that. That's a little scary. So within the same week of that happening, another man got hit by another man on a bike got hit by somebody in a van. So again, like, this is the corner, like, I can see this happening. I wasn't outside on the porch when it happened, but I had a couple of guests that were, and they saw it. And so everybody around in the neighborhood is like running up to the corner. Someone called 911, and we're trying to make sure that this guy is all right. So he just gets up, pops back up, like, oh, I'm okay, and I'm like, yo, guy, you might not be okay. And he was like, no, I'm okay, and I was just like, no, you might not be okay, guy, like, stay down. But then he kept saying he was okay. So the guy who was driving the van was just, he was like, okay, well, he like rode off. And the guy kept saying he was okay. So it's not like he like hit the dude and ran. He actually did legit try to see if this guy was okay. And while I didn't see any physical injuries on this guy, it was still a little scary. And me personally, I felt like maybe he should have been checked out, but he kept denying it. So I don't even think he was there long enough for the emergency people to pop up. And the bad thing is, like, I live like 5 blocks away from a fire department, so they would have been there super quick. And back to the first story where with the T-bone and everybody, I think everybody was okay when the ambulance did get there. I think everybody did deny services and they did like some checking out. So everybody walked away from the accident. So that was the positive part of that story. I'm glad they were okay. So yeah, that's the update of my life for now. Again, I hope to see y'all for another video since I'm done with this card. Um, Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Visit the blog, and I'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye.